Por el camino del desierto, el viento me despeina, suave aroma de colita, aroma de labi. Ella de lo lejos, una luz en tela, la idea de mezclan, te vi por en la noche, ella estaba a la entrada y la campana de a sonar, y me dijo ya mismo, esto puedo del cielo. Ella enciende una vela y nuestra de camino. Soy vos el corredor y yo te dije diciendo.
Mr. and Mrs. Bruns.
But piece of those. She's a bright little thing. She had wavy, light hair and a cheeky grin, and she had everybody charmed, including the doting father. We took them all on a trip to Europe in '89, and for 5 months we were there. 3 months we were driving around in a van. She learnt to read in that 3 months in the back of this camper. Now, she was a clever kid, but she was too easily distracted to be a good student. She started homework and she did the first three sums, and then she'd find that boring. So she'd colour in those answers for the teacher to make the woodworks. At school, she was a serial daydreamer, and the teachers tried everything, and there was really nothing much they could do. Her grade 3 teacher once made the mistake of keeping her in over lunch, and she was delighted. She loved Mr. Smith, and she came home that night and told her she had lunch with Mr. Smith. The St Michael's school bus stopped about 50 metres up from our driveway, and there all the kids would wait for the bus and it would arrive and they'd get on, including her brother Patrick. And then it'd stop again at the foot of our driveway, so that Caitlin could stumble up the steps with a bag and a blazer in one hand and a shoe in the other. And it happened virtually every morning, and the bus driver never complained. She had him cold. Now, Caitlin, part of Caitlin's charm is a part of her vulnerability and her openness, and that she is as you see her. But she loves all people and all things, and this is part of the reason she's a vegan, and she would never injure anything living. She's a very keen gardener, and the possums come down and eat her vegetables. And she feeds them apples, hoping that if they have enough apples, they won't eat the vegetables. And they go off and they tell all their friends. She has a mousetrap. It's a wee box. And the mouse runs in the box and the door slams shut, and she made a little bed for the mouse. And then she releases it into the wild. And I can understand that. But she does the same thing to the caterpillars on her plants. But that's just Caitlin. What she does with caterpillars, and the photos were introduced to the possum, I don't know. She's multi-talented. She could do anything at school. She could sing, she could dance, but particularly, she was good at the flute. And her flute teacher thought she could make a career out of being a flautist, but it wasn't to be. She went on and did arts and teaching. And she got a good honours degree, and so as a reward we sent her on a Contiki trip in Europe for 6 weeks. And the idea is she goes the trip, she goes off to Ireland and gets a bit of overseas experience and works and so forth. Didn't quite work out. She went for her cousin Siobhan, and within a few days of the trip starting, he got this message from Siobhan that Caitlin had this American boyfriend. What was all that about? Anyway, we got these postcards and Loren this and Loren that, and then at the end of the trip, she took him back to Ireland, introduced him around the family, and all was rosy and lovely for about a week. And then he had to go back to America, and she was devastated. She was sitting there, maudlin and morose, with a heart as empty as a Greek bank, until eventually we realised the only thing we could do is bring this kid back home. So we got her back home. I thought, well, that definitely is. I mean, really, she's in Australia, he's over in America. We don't have to hear anything more about it. I didn't think on Skype. But it's daytime here, and it's nighttime over there, or vice versa. So they were moving each other over the Skype thing for ages, until eventually, he came asking, and I thought, geez, this must be serious. So after a few days, we can see he's a handsome young man, and he's certainly very clever and very personable. And I thought, well, yes, he'd be a good son-in-law. So, but Caitlin said that Loren wanted to speak to me. Well, now, I'm not that that slow, so I knew what that would be about. So I knew what he was like normally, and what's he like with a few drinks. So I took him up to the club for lunch, and I put half a bottle of wine into a couple of slow gins. And it was apparent that he wasn't used to drinking the way we do. He was still a perfect gentleman, and as I assisted him back to the car, Caitlin was waiting for him, he popped the question, and I gave my blessing to the match. So it was decided a traditional wedding, fairy tale wedding, all the usual sort of things, you know, the Wagner on the way in, the Mendelssohn on the way out, and so forth. The groom standing at the altar, facing the altar, not allowed to turn around and look at what he did tonight, today. The bride, she arrives at the church, first thing she sees is the arch. She's going to walk down there, in the distance is the altar, and there's the man she's going to marry him. And that's it. I'll alter him, and that's what she's thinking as she goes down the aisle. Because no woman can look at any man without seeing straight through improvement. It's true. A woman marries a man thinking that he'll change. And he doesn't. But a woman marries a man marries a woman thinking that she won't change, and she does. Well then. At this stage of the proceeding, I suppose it's the previous generation, to give some advice to the happy couple, so to give some advice to help them through life. My generation, of course, has made such a success of the world that young people should listen to. Contrary to what you might think, I'm not the fount of all knowledge, and the last time I knew everything was when I was 20 years old. I must have forgotten a great deal since then. My children never listen to me, but you never know. Now, first for Caitlin. Now, in my dentist's waiting room, I found an old magazine. It's an excerpt from a domestic science textbook of the 1950s entitled How to Care for Your Husband. I'll read out some sentences. Plan ahead, even the night before, to have a delicious meal on time. This is a way of letting him know that you've been thinking about him and concerned about his needs. Most men are hungry when they come home, and the prospects of a good meal are part of the meal. Have him lean back in a comfortable chair. Suggest that he lie down in the bedroom, have a cool or warm drink ready for him. Arrange his pillow and offer to take off his shoes. Speak in a soft, low, soothing voice. Never complain if he does not take you out to dinner or other places of entertainment. Instead, try and understand his world of strain and pressure, his need to be home and relaxed. Now, all you young ladies, if you wanted a copy of this very useful you can come and see me afterwards. Now, Loren, a bit of advice. A few things in order to secure domestic peace. Generally, you ought to know that dirty dishes left on the sink don't find their way into the dishwasher. No matter how smelly that sock is you drop on the floor, it won't walk its way to the bottom. And her enjoyment of that wonderful special dinner that you created for her will be spoiled if she has to clean up the mess that you left the kitchen in. So, it all goes down to thoughtfulness. My dear wife will tell you I'm very thoughtful. I'm lost in my thoughts. So she makes these lists. She makes lists so that I'll remember what she wants me to do. And the list, they never end. If something gets crossed off, something else gets added on. And the last list that I will receive is the one that she heaves into the copper just before I Now, the important
there's kind of a parallel here to what we're having roll on. Dearest Mom and Dad, found a cute Aussie named Caitlin to see Europe with. That was the only postcard we got. This is enough for us to know that something was afoot here. 6 weeks later, they visited Caitlin's family in Ireland. Another evidence. Something special was happening. But how would the lovers survive 12,000 kilometers between the U.S. and Australia? The internet. Next thing we knew, Caitlin arrived at our house in Beaverton, Oregon, and gave me a big hug. Here was a young woman who makes things happen. Then Loren flew to Melbourne and gave Caitlin an engagement ring where the penguins parade on nearby Phillip Island. How romantic. But how would our lovers get together? Loren had no job in Melbourne. I mean, if you really think about this whole thing is totally implausible. Another miracle. Loren was accepted into the astrophysics PhD program at the uni here in Melbourne. Finally, Loren and Caitlin were together. And now today, we're all together, thanks to Tony, Rowan, and Francis, who put together this celebration of Caitlin and Loren's wedding. The love story continues. Party, party. Take it away, Rowan.
Before I begin, I'd like to thank all the bridesmaids for everything they've done today. As you can see, they look beautiful and deserve a round of applause. Also, who could ignore the stunning bride who had arguably the hardest job today? Round of applause for her. Anyway, my name is Andrew. I've known Loren for about 23 years. I know it's traditional to embarrass the groom when giving one of these speeches, but as I was writing this, I realized that every story of that type could be, that I could think of, was either secondhand or a result of me being the direct cause of said humiliation. So I won't go into those. Instead, I'd like to talk about, Instead, I'd like to talk about the memories that stick out for me that speak of Loren's character. First of all, some history. I met Loren on the first day of Mrs. Burbank's first grade class. He had just moved to Portland, Oregon from California that summer. He was taller than most other kids, had big, crazy hair, and he wore these long plaid shorts every single day. No joke. He was always building stuff. There were these 3D puzzles and models that he had put together that were on display all over his house. For one of my earlier birthdays, while every other kid got me a Ninja Turtle or Legos, Loren's gift was this large structure made of wood, cardboard, and aluminum foil. It was maybe a meter high and had 2 levels. He explained that it was a candy dish, and he had made it especially for me. It was totally ridiculous, and absolutely the pinnacle of craftsmanship for a 7-year-old kid. I must have had that candy dish displayed prominently in my room well into high school, and it might still be somewhere in my parents' house. But for all of his technical ability and small motor skill, it may surprise you to know that Loren wasn't always so coordinated. In fact, he was a klutz. So it was harder to get him to do active things with me. At that age, if I wasn't sure I was up for something, all it took for me to get over my nerves was for my brother to challenge me to do it. For Loren, it took a different kind of motivation. That was usually through his stomach. Case in point, at some point I learned to ride a bike, so of course it was necessary that Loren learn too. Well, Loren's dad, Ricky, was great at a lot of things, but teaching Loren to ride a bike was not one of them. My mom actually ended up teaching Loren how to ride a bike. And part of that meant bribing him with ice cream to ride once around the school track. Still shaky after one grueling attempt, Loren was ready to give up. It was only after my mom told him that once more around the track would earn me an ice cream as well, and no, his dad would not be allowed to treat me otherwise, that Loren was willing to give it another go. Fortunately, once more was enough to motivate him to keep at it, and before he knew it, we were cruising all around the neighborhood. Loren is the only child in his family, which I, as the middle of three, thought was fantastic. Loren had a room full of toys and always had the newest and best game system, and I was only too happy to help him make sure that we got good use out of all of them. Surprisingly to me, Loren thought having a brother and sister was fantastic. There was always someone to play with at my house, even when I was hogging the Nintendo. Him being around so much essentially made him an honorary brother in my family. In fact, my sister has always described him as the brother she wished she'd had. Loren and I did tons of activities together, like Cub and Boy Scouts and youth soccer, but somehow one of my most vivid memories is of the summer that Loren stayed at my house for a month playing Diablo in my basement. He only went home to take a shower and change clothes, and the only reason my parents allowed us to stay inside when it was so nice outside was because we stayed out of trouble. We were enticed to help a little bit by demolishing the downstairs bathroom for a remodel in between quests. As fate would have it, this video game-inspired camaraderie is what somehow reconnected us after going to different high schools and universities. We'd see each other when at home for holidays and summers over the previous years, but we weren't as close. We were both living with our parents, trying to figure out life beyond university, and had independently found that escaping into the World of Warcraft eased the blow. Once we discovered each other's passion for the game, we rebonded, remembering how much fun it had always been to play together as a team. Before you knew it, we ended up moving into a small house together with our friend Zed. And yes, the results were so much more nerdy than you can even imagine. Living with Loren was like picking up from where we left off several years before, but it was particularly interesting because he had recently gone on a trip to Europe and met Caitlin. We were trying to make a long-distance relationship work. Having been there myself, I knew what hazards that entailed. I mean, let's face it, it's one thing to share a couple of months in a surreal setting. The beautiful woman you've just met is quite another to be thrust back into reality and try to maintain the same magic. But that's what was so amazing. For all the trials and tribulations that inevitably follow such a relationship, I was witnessing one that was seemingly bizarrely functional, thanks to the timely invention of video chat. And to whoever was paying the internet bill at the Walker House, God bless. From then on, I knew it was just a matter of time before today would come. And it was fortunate that Loren got accepted to the uni, because I have a feeling that he would have been willing to scrub toilets if it meant a work visa. All of us across the ocean miss you dearly, Loren. And we're anxiously awaiting your return with Caitlin, or your visits with Caitlin. But in the meantime, I suppose there's always video chat. Just going to say a proposed toast to the happy couple in many years of discovering each other's little oddities and keeping it interesting.
Sorry. Now, finally, the response from the bride and groom.
So, just to set a good precedent, Caitlin's going to do most of the talking. Sorry, I should say Mrs. Bruns.
Thanks so much for coming to our wedding and for everyone's kind wishes and support today. It's been fantastic. We're really fortunate today in that we have not only my friends and family here, but also a huge group of Loren's family and friends from the States too. We really appreciate the special effort that you made to be with us today, and your presence at our wedding is one of the most beautiful gifts that Loren and I could ask for. There are so many people to thank. Thanks to my wonderful family, to my Auntie Pan for making my dress. cousins for being there my whole life and for shaping who I am today. And this includes the many people who couldn't be here today, to our family who are in Ireland and America. And for those family members who have died, my wonderful grandmothers, and to Auntie Libby, who inspired me in so many ways. To Mum and Dad, you have been so wonderful in preparing for this wedding and supporting me throughout my whole life with your love and kindness and humour. I love you both of kids, and you go to great lengths to help make today the best day of my life. Thank you to Loren's parents, Linda and Rich. You have raised the most wonderful person. I know it must be so very hard to be separated from him so much, but please know that I love him so dearly, and I promise I'll take really good care of him. To my bridesmaids, Sarah, Kat, and Tal, wow, you've been so supportive. You've helped me with all these details and offering me advice, as well as the regular injection of sanity into preparing for today. And I've heard people say how beautiful you look, and I really have to agree. And your voice look great too. And finally, I would like to propose a toast to you, Loren. I'm so lucky to have found you. You are kind and clever and funny and loving. And thank you for being my best friend and my true love. You really are fabulous. Cheers.
Oh, shucks. Oh, dear. So, my dad likes to tell the story about how when I was in high school, I gave the speech. And it was this whole thing where nobody knew what I was going to say, and it was crazy and nonsensical and all of that. And I don't remember a word of it. I really don't. This time I didn't really plan ahead. This is, I was told that it was kind of a call and response kind of thing, so I'm just totally up here making a fool of myself. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank the boys, Ryan, Andrew, my new brother, Patrick, and most of all, I want to thank James for being a wonderful, calming, centering, local person who can keep everything together while my other boys were coming overseas and all of this stuff. You're a good man. Caitlin pretty much summed up everything right there, because that's what she does. I just want to thank everybody again, just for coming out and making the effort, particularly the 15 folks who came on for some people, like a 30-hour journey, if you want to call it that, all the way out here. And I mean, quite frankly, it's just an honor to be in a room with all of you, let alone, you being here with me, which is also cool. And her. and her. I mean, obviously. She sets the bar pretty high. Anyway, before I get into too much more trouble, I just want to remind Andrew that Diablo 3 comes out in May. I don't think, there might be a lost summer in there. Hopefully I'll finish my thesis. I don't know. Now, there's a couple other things I wanted to say, and I mean, if people know Caitlin and I, we're kind of cutesy, kind of a little weird. Sometimes the smiles look like they may be, pasted on with glue and maybe made of felt. And so, I think to finish it off here, I'm going to steal It's a cake! It's a cake! It's a cake!
We're gonna eat it.
We did it! We cut the cake! It's awesome!
We just feed each other cake.
Wait, do we do that?
Should we do that? Should we do that? Can you do that?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's nice.
Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, you're gonna get a little piece? Oh, that's clever.
There's nothing on
You need to. You don't want me to cut the cake. That's the worst idea. Oh my God, this is so hard. We don't know what we're doing. There it is.
I'm a rocket scientist. Let's go.
All right, it's just frosting. That's all that matters. We got the important part.
Okay.
All right. On the count of go. 1, 2, go. There we go. Did everybody get that? Oh my God, it's really good cake.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join the bride and groom on the dance floor.
do it discreetly. That's not working. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go! Hey, there we go. Congratulations.
Caitlin is a ninja. She is the most awesome of all of Awesome Town.